This is the politics of everything, and I'm your host, Amber Daines. Welcome to the podcast where we want to discuss the politics of everything, from money to motherhood, nutrition to narcissism, startups to secularism, the environment to equality, and much more. Our guests are experts in their field or topic of choice, even if you've not yet heard their name. This is a bipartisan podcast, so while we love exploring varied views and get a buzz from a healthy debate, by no means is this a one-sided forum for any one political view. So please listen up and enjoy the politics of everything. The world of small business has long been described as the engine room of the Australian economy. My guest today, Dale Beaumont, knows all about creating small business success stories. Dale is an award-winning technology entrepreneur, international speaker, and author of 16 best-selling books. Dale started his first business at age 19 and has been building companies ever since. With a passion to give back, Dale's goal is to help more than 1 million entrepreneurs around the world with BRiN, the world's first business advisor powered by artificial intelligence. And he joins me today to share his knowledge about the politics of small business. Hi, Dale.
Hi, Amber.
Welcome to the show. We're going to jump straight in here. Mm-hmm. Have you always been interested in small business, and how did your career begin, like at the tender age of 19?
Yeah, so I grew up with a father that ran his own small business, and so as young as I can remember, I was in the truck, going to different jobs. I was putting up decorations, taking down decorations, which is what my father did. On weekends, he'd have to deliver invoice during Christmas. He had to sign all of the jobs and everything. So I kind of had that, I suppose, in me. And the other thing I also had as part of my childhood was competitive sports. I was a national gymnast and then represented Australia, and I had a lot of kind of energy and basically really strong kind of work ethic. And so when I finished my school, I finished my sporting career, I entered the kind of real world, so to speak. I just found that everyone else around me was just moving at such a slow pace and having a lot of energy and being prepared to work. I just thought the only really way to achieve my goals was to basically just be the master of my own destiny. And so I decided to start a business and kind of like that's been my life for the last 16 years. So very passionate about small business and helping other people to build successful companies.
Absolutely. And so what was that first business?
So the first business was actually running programs for teenagers. And basically what happened was when I finished school, I started to attend courses with people like Robert Kiyosaki and Tony Robbins and Brian Tracy and Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and Brandon Bays, all of the kind of gurus of the personal and professional development industry. And when I was at these events, most of the other attendees were people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and I was 19. And I must have kind of stood out, and I had so many people come up to me and say, "What are you doing here? And you're so young." And then some of them said, "Wow, I wish I had this opportunity to learn all this stuff at your age. I wonder where I'd be today." And so I started to think of, wouldn't it be cool if you could take all this information, which is kind of, for at the time I thought adults, and put it into a program that was relevant for teenagers, and that would be a really cool thing. And we'd make it really kind of like, funky. We'd have like a dance kind of machine there. We'd have like smoke machine, and we'd have like a DJ, and we'd play movies.
Now that's dating you, Dale.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And we'd make it really fun and funky. And that's what we did. We started off with a 3-hour event, and it's now a weekend workshop, and we run a 5-day camp as well. That business is still running 16 years later. And it's now expanded into 7 different countries. So that was the first company, and then things just evolved from there.
Well, there is a big difference between being what we call an entrepreneur, which is like the term of the decade, if you like, and a small business owner. And how would you differentiate that from your own experience?
Yeah, they're kind of terms that people use interchangeably now, and but there is kind of like, a difference. The small business owner is normally the person that is at the coalface, the person that is in many ways the kind of jockey. They're the one that's actually riding the horse or running the business, whereas the entrepreneur is normally the owner of the horse, which is not necessarily the same person as the jockey, and they're the person that has to hire the jockey and get the horse, and will kind of decide what races that they kind of enter, and will look at the longevity of that that particular horse and when they're going to have to invest in a new one. So the entrepreneur is normally someone that, is a deal maker and pulls things together, but they're not necessarily the person that's running the business. But if you might be sort of both. You might be the kind of like the owner and also the operator. So that's kind of the difference, the way I see it.
Absolutely. I think that's a very clear differentiation. Look, in Australia, small businesses are important employers, but according to 2016 research that was done by the UNSW Business School, apparently they pale in comparison to big businesses in terms of the number of jobs they've created in, say, the past 5 years. So to me, there's a bit of a discord. We sort of think, oh, well, all these people are employed in small business, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And then can you give us any insights, having been the landscape for such a long time, about why that's kind of shifting?
Yeah, so I think with regards to the stats, there is, and I don't know what the numbers are, but a large portion, I think it's over 50% of the workforce is employed by small business owners. So they do make up a lot. I think the stats that you're referring to is really the number of new jobs that have been created in the last 5 years, as opposed to the growth. And from what that research shows is most of the growth in employment has taken place in larger companies, and the growth isn't as strong in small business. But we have had a really tough time, in small business at the back of the sort of the GFC, and a lot of small business owners, are sort of still struggling. And obviously now with different labor laws, it makes it more difficult to hire and then let someone kind of go if they're not sort of working out. And a lot of small business owners, they face a lot more competition than kind of ever before. And there's also offshoring that has sort of taken place as well. So there's a lot of factors why small business owners, in terms of new jobs, they're kind of like, they may not be creating as many, but still their number that they do have is huge, and they're a very, very important part of our economy.
And we do know that 97% of all businesses in Australia are in fact deemed to be small businesses. So they're certainly punching above their weight in terms of overall representation in the business landscape. Looking a little bit at startups now, I mean, it seems to be the new black that everyone wants to be in a tech business, yourself included.
Yeah.
And you're very passionate about that with BRiN, which you launched, a year or more ago now. How did the seed of that idea come to light? And I guess as you've gone through this artificial intelligence journey, what have you kind of learned about the role of technology interplayed with small business leadership?
Yeah, so just explain the last part of the question again.
Oh, look, it's the idea that, you've got this seed of an idea for BRiN with the world of artificial intelligence. You can obviously see it coming, like a lot of successful entrepreneurs, you've obviously seen it before. It's sort of, real for everybody. What's that interplay between what you've done with BRiN, which is designed for small business, and what have you learned about, why technology is so important for small business? Sure.
Yeah. So I have a company called Business Blueprint, which I've run for almost 10 years, and it's a business education company. And what we do is we help small business owners to improve their businesses. And we have been obsessed by how do we help more entrepreneurs, because the average kind of business coach, if you kind of call us that, would have somewhere between 8 to 10 clients, because they see all those clients one-on-one. And so that's really the maximum number of clients that they can, kind of physically see in a week or in a month. We have done our best to use technology in order to reach greater numbers of people. So right now we have around 560 clients that are all small business owners that we work with, and one company serving 500 small business owners is pretty impressive. However, our next challenge, which is where BRiN comes in, is how do we help 5,000? How do we help 50,000? How do we help 1 million people all at the same time? And the only way to do that is not by seeing people one-on-one, or it's not what we do right now with Business Blueprint, which is running conferences and events, because even then we may get 200 or 300 people in a room. We can't serve tens of thousands. The only way is through technology. So why technology is so so appealing and so needed is it can help businesses to reach customers at a scale never before possible, in the history of the world. So that's really why we have decided that we've set up a separate technology company, which we have, called BRiN, and BRiN sits alongside Business Blueprint, and Business Blueprint is a great company that we're running right now, but BRiN is a company for the future, and it's a company that means that we can start helping, and we already are, small business owners globally. And we've had 40,000 people that have downloaded our product, and we have thousands of people using it every single day. And so it's a really fantastic platform. And if you were interested in business or want to kind of learn more about improving your company, then right now people can download the app for free. It's not going to be free forever, but right now it is. And so people can just go to the website, which I think is BRiN.ai is the website, and they can download it and check it out.
That's fabulous. I've actually hosted a series on there as well. So there's a double plug for both of us.
Yes.
It's the one to many really on steroids if you're talking about that sort of idea of, I guess, taking it global and the amount of people you can reach, which is definitely the future. However, ABS statistics are showing that with small businesses, 60% do shut down within the first 3 years. So that's a pretty daunting figure. And I think, a lot of people think, oh, well, I've got this great idea. I'm going to change the world with it. And, it's going to be no more fluoro lights and working for other people ever again. In your experience, and you obviously work with a lot of different types of small businesses, what are some of the common mistakes that the small business makes in the early days? And I guess how can they avoid them the best as possible? Obviously things happen like, GFC and things like that. But beyond that, what can people do to make sure those first few years really work out for them?
Yeah, good question. I saw some sort of stats. Someone said 85% of small business owners, fail because of bad cash flow management, which makes sense, right? Because money is what funds a business. But that's kind of like saying, well, the car stopped because the petrol ran out. Well, why did the petrol run out? Why didn't what kind of went wrong? And so there's a whole bunch of reasons. It's not just cash flow management. Maybe that the business owner didn't actually find a problem that people were actually willing to pay money for. Maybe they had the right product, but they had the wrong kind of messaging. They didn't kind of market it effectively. Maybe they had the wrong way of delivering their products and services. It could have been their pricing. They were maybe overcharging, or maybe they were undercharging, which is more kind of common. Maybe they didn't understand the fact that there's it's one thing to have a product or a service, but then marketing and promoting that product or service is a completely different skill set. Because basically what happens is, if you've had a job before, you wear one hat pretty much, but when you kind of go into business, you're now wearing 5 or 10 or 20 different hats. And a lot of new small business owners underestimate the work involved and the amount of skills that you need to learn and the number of responsibilities that are suddenly yours. Like, you are the marketing person, the salesperson, you're the customer service rep, you're, oftentimes the financial controller as well. And so you're wearing lots and lots of different things because you can't go out and hire 10 people instantly to run your business. And so all of those become you. And a lot of people are good at the thing, which could be, cutting hair or landscaping, but they don't understand the fact that marketing or selling the thing is a very different skill set. And a lot of people think that if I'm good at what I do, I'll instantly be successful. But it's not about being good at what you do. It's about being good at marketing and promoting and selling what it is that you do. And then obviously being able to, to scale your business. And so it doesn't, take 20 hours a day to run that business because there's only so many hours in the day. So the short answer is there's a lot of factors that determine why a business succeeds and why other businesses fail. But I think the two biggest antidotes to business failure is, number one, education. One of my mentors said to me once, the more that you learn, the more that you earn. So I've been obsessed around education. And the other thing is support. And that is by having access to a business coach or a business mentor or some other type of business community that you can get involved with, because rarely can you can't solve your current problems with the same mind that created them. You need to actually get input from outside influences, outside forces, because if you could solve the problem on your own, you would have done it already. So you need to start surrounding yourself with other people that can give you that advice that you don't have, so you can get to that next level.
That's great. A thorough answer. So talking about failure, it can be a learning tool. I don't think it's a bad thing overall. In hindsight, at the time, not great. But, from your own small business experiences, I'm sure you've had setbacks. What have they shown you about the journey to success?
So yeah, there are definitely lots of setbacks and disappointments and challenges in business. In many ways, it's it's going from frustration to frustration with a little bit of excitement in between. So that's really what small business is about. And a lot of people just think that it's all smooth sailing. It's absolutely not. So you need to be able to understand that the business is a journey. And there are lots of ups and downs in that journey. So, celebrate the wins that you have, because, that's a wonderful thing, but also don't get too frustrated if things aren't going right. Because it is a part of it. You just need to keep going. You just need to learn from them, and you just need to keep moving forward. Even now, and we've got a great business, but there's still days that that are challenging and difficult. And I just got to go. Tomorrow's going to be a new day, and I'm just going to take this one on the chin, start again afresh, and just keep going forward. So just keep going.
And perspective is everything, I guess, too. So you do wear several business hats, and I guess one of your original businesses you spoke to us earlier in the interview about is now the multi-million-dollar enterprise, which we all dream of. It's also enabled you to do many other things with your life, become an investor, a philanthropist, and, travel the world. You've been to sort of 70 plus countries. What's next, Dale? Do you have an exit plan, or is it going to be like you're going to be working till the day they carry you out in that box?
Look, it's sort of a combination of both. I certainly, don't necessarily, my goal is not to sort of like retire. I've done that. When I say done that, I mean like I've traveled 3 or 4 months of the year. And I do regularly have a lot of time where we, travel. Typically we do 2 months work and 1 month travel, which is what we've done for the last 8 years. And after about a month of being kind of away from my team and being kind of like, somewhere else in the world, I can't wait to come home and get stuck back into work and get things done and achieve goals and take their business to the next level and help more people. So I just don't think retiring, I could probably retire for a month, but after that, I'm going to go, okay, what's the next goal? What's the next challenge? I don't believe that you can just sit around and play golf all day. So, that's not what I aspire to. I really aspire to just, to helping more people. And that's really what kind of my mission is, and looking for faster and better and more meaningful, more kind of scalable ways of helping people. So that's really what I'll be doing for as long as I can. And that's really what's next for me is to continue to grow Business Blueprint, like we have, over the last, 10 years, to reach more and more entrepreneurs locally. And when I say local, Australia and New Zealand, but BRiN is really a platform that we can help develop entrepreneurs globally. And that's really the next challenge for me, is how do we help not just hundreds, but how do we help thousands or one day millions of people all around the world? That's really what gets me excited.
So I'm a big believer that no one's got to where they are on their own. Do you have any special mentors or inspirational people that you feel have guided you at different junctures of your journey? And what have they taught you about business, about life, and about success?
Yeah, there have been so many people that have helped me over the years. I think there's a saying, and that is, if you find a turtle on a flagpole, they didn't get there on their own. And that's kind of a little bit of my story as well, that I think I'm where I am today because of all the influences I've had from so many different people. So obviously at the beginning it was my parents, and then after that it was my gymnastics coach, and then following on from that it was the people like Robert Kiyosaki and Tony Robbins and all of these kind of personal development gurus. I've learned heaps from all of them. And then after that it was different business partners and mentors that we've had over the years. And also some people know that in the past, I wrote a series of books called the Secrets Exposed series, where I interviewed over 250 business leaders and experts. And so I've learned from all those people as well. So it would be wrong for me to name any one person, but it's really all of the people that I've met that have influenced me in so many different ways.
And I'm sure you've influenced lots of people too. I interviewed another guest earlier in the week, and he's a little older than us, and he did say one thing that he's always found is it's not just about you being mentored, but the experience that mentor gets from you as well. And I imagine you've mentored other people and individuals in your career, and I'm sure, likewise you've had that reciprocal impact. So I think that's really important to remember as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really what it's about, is how we can all help each other to have more success.
Exactly. So just to wrap up, what are the top 3 tips you would have for our listeners who are curious to get ahead in the politics of small business? There's so many things that you've shared with us today and so many pearls, but are there sort of 2 or 3 things that really stand out that you think every business owner in the small business landscape needs to embrace, and why?
Yeah, so there is, and this is the message that I share anytime I'm in front of an audience, because oftentimes people, how do I market my business? How do I do this? And I share hundreds of different strategies, but they're really, for me, there's 3 principles that sit above all those strategies that are really, I think, the secret to business success. Number 1 is you really need to invest in your education. Knowledge can really help you to learn about what it takes to achieve in all those different areas. Like I said before, the more that you learn, the more that you earn. And so go to courses, go to events, read books, listen to podcasts, just like learn. That's number 1, is your education. And I don't mean school or university, I mean like what people are getting now and what they would get from coming along to one of my events, that type of stuff.
It's the more non-formal education.
Exactly.
And if you're an entrepreneur and a small business owner, you need things to move fast. And I think, there's a place for traditional education. I'm a big believer in it, but there's also a place for that kind of more, short-term but powerful action education, I call it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to have a coach or a mentor. You haven't got enough years in your life to learn it all yourself through trial and error. You have to stand on the shoulders of giants or learn from the people that have gone before you. So having coaches and mentors is number 2. And number 3 is really important. It's kind of like, it's like an unconscious thing, but it's your environment. It's the people that you surround yourself with on an ongoing basis, which will ultimately determine how successful you become or where you end up. If you're around a lot of people that think small and a lot of people that are really negative, naturally you're going to think small and be really negative as well. But if you're around people that, are much more ambitious and driven, or they're achieving more success than what you are, then it's naturally going to rub off, and it's going to improve your kind of, your skills. So, that's really for me, the 3 biggest ones: invest in your education, have a coach or a mentor, and surround yourself with amazing people.
Well, it's been absolutely fantastic to pick your brain today, Dale. If you do want to connect further with Dale Beaumont and his various businesses, there'll be some details on our show notes. You've been listening to The Politics of Everything. I'm Amber Daines. Until next time, keep well. Thanks for listening today. If you've enjoyed The Politics of Everything, we thrive on feedback. So please add a short review and share the podcast with your network and your friends and family. I'm also always on the hunt for fabulous new guests, so if you've got a view to share and an idea how to get our listeners excited, please email me at amber@bespokecomms, that's BESPOKECOMMS.com.au, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Until next time.